I'm a truck driver, and as such, I get sleepy and have coffee occasionally to stay up. I'm sure many people do this. Here's the problem. Coffee actually makes you sleepy. So, let's do this. I also did study psychology at university. Did not finish that degree, but I still know what I was studying. So here's why caffeine makes you sleepy and not awake, as you may believe. I don't know where to begin. This is such a multifaceted, complicated story, but I'll try to keep it as succinct as possible. Let's start with some basics. You have a neuron, brain cell, spinal cord cells. You have neurons that transmit the signals in your body between the muscles and the brain and the muscles, other tissues, internally, whatever. Now, a cell body has, let's start with an axon, which is like a long arm that extends out and transmits the signals from the body onwards. That ends in a bunch of axon terminals, I suppose they're called. Now, they send a message to the next cell, which I'll get to. Now, what receives the signal is a dendrite. So I'm just going to draw a bunch of them like this. And I suppose they have little bits sticking out of them as well. You get the point. Just increases, I guess, the surface area really. So these dendrites will have bits where they come close to the axons, and there is a little gap there. This is the synapse, I suppose, is what it's called. The gap between the axon and the dendrite. There are these little balls of neurotransmitter that are stored in the axon. When a signal comes in, it tells them to get released and travel to the next cell. So they all end up floating around in here. Next step. Now, this wall here will look something like that, and it will have these little, let's just call them like a little lock, where these little neurotransmitters will lock into here. They have a particular shape and they will lock in there. Each neurotransmitter, and there are many, each one will have its own shape and its own site where it will lock onto. This is where caffeine comes in. Caffeine acts on that gap. It gets in there, and one of these neurotransmitters is adenosine. It's a similar shape, so what it will do is this dirty caffeine bastard molecule will lock in here and basically activate the signal. No, sorry, what it will do is it will stop the adenosine from coming in here. It will not be able to come in, so it will stop the adenosine from having its intended effect, which is two things that I'm aware of. I'm sure there are many, probably many that we don't know about. It dilates blood vessels, as far as I'm aware, so it lets blood flow easier, and also it makes you sleepy. So the caffeine gets in there, takes that spot that the adenosine is looking for, and stops it from having its effect. Your body, however, has a level it wants to be at in all respects, whether that be the amount of glucose in your blood, how much you want to eat essentially, heart rate, it comes to a normal level after exercise and all that, breathing rate, all sorts of things. There's a homeostasis, it's the norm, it's just the normal level your body wants to be at. Now, initially, if you don't normally drink coffee and you have one, you will feel more awake because the adenosine will not be able to make you tired. However, if you drink coffee often, several times a day, I don't know exactly how long it takes for this to happen, but your body will then start to treat coffee as a normal part of life, and with coffee you will be at homeostasis, right? So you will feel normal when you drink coffee. When the coffee wears off though, what happens is you become more sensitive to the adenosine. So you will actually feel more sleepy than you normally would. You won't feel any more awake after. If you drink a coffee, let's say you're one of those people that has one in the morning and one at lunch. That is what your body will require for you to just feel normal. The same way someone who doesn't drink coffee. It's not something that puts a pep in your step. Is that a right term? No. What it does instead is, when you don't have it, it makes you very sleepy. So where I ended up at is I would feel tired sometimes, and so I would have a coffee in the morning when I wake up if I didn't sleep much or whatever, and I have a lot of driving to do. And then it would go from being a coffee in the morning to a coffee in the morning and one in the afternoon if I've done a lot of driving and I feel like it's another few hours left and I just need a bit of a boost, I suppose. And then it would get to the stage where it would be 3 coffees a day, and it was getting to the point where it was 4 coffees a day. Now, as I said, each time you get accustomed to having your 5th, 7th, 10th coffee, and people do drink 10 coffees a day, some people do, you then require 10 coffees just to function like a normal human being. Because if you don't have your 10 coffees, you will be a useless, just tired, cranky, you will not function at your normal level without it. So one day I just stopped drinking coffee when I realized that it's getting out of hand. Now, you might say, oh, that's nothing, I drink 15 coffees a day. As I said, you have to. It's not a matter of, well, I drink them because they make me feel good. No, you drink them because not drinking them makes you feel terrible. So I stopped. One day I just went, nope, no more coffee. And for the first few days, it was torture. I felt so bad and so lazy and sleepy and tired for days. But after about day 3, maybe day 4, I can't remember now, I started feeling more normal. And a week later, I felt like, I felt better than I have in months. I never got tired. I didn't get tired in the morning when I woke up. I didn't get tired halfway through the day. I'm not tired now, it's 11 p.m. I may look it because I've had a hard day, and I haven't shaved for a while. But it's just been maybe a month, maybe a little bit more now, of bliss. Just absolutely amazing. I love the taste of coffee, and I'm thinking of having a coffee soon. I might have a coffee in the next few days, perhaps, just for the taste. I might not, but I have hay fever. That's why my nose is a bit blocked and all. So I encourage you to not drink coffee. I mean, look, there are studies that show that I'm not sure 1 or 2 coffees a day are actually beneficial because it does bring you up a bit, I suppose. It's almost like doing some exercise, but I don't know if this is a long-term effect or just a short-term effect, because what normally happens with studies, they'll do a 1 or 2 week follow-up, and that's where they'll stop it, because these things cost money and take time. Waiting months to go back and ask people how they're feeling over and over again, it might take months to do the study, and many people will drop out because they will just get tired of answering the same boring questions. And so it's hard to do these long studies. Now, I'm not saying that coffee will not make you healthier, make you live longer and whatever. It may do. I don't know. But I definitely know that I feel much better when I drink no coffee. And I guess the same goes for sugar. I also eat very little sugar, but that's a whole other story. Whereby I'm used to eating fat, not sugar. So I function mainly from eating fatty meats and things like yogurts and macadamia nuts and things like that. So I get my energy from fat. So my body gets more efficient at burning fat, and that includes my own. So when I haven't eaten, I don't just have these drops in energy. I get my energy from my own stores of fat, which are stores of energy. That's what they're meant for. But if you constantly eat sugar, your body never has to use the stored fat, so it's not very good at it. So when you're hungry, you feel like necking yourself because you can't get to that food. You feel hungry. I don't really get that. That's a whole other story I can get into next time. But for now, do as you please, but just be aware that coffee actually makes you tired, not energetic. You need that coffee to wake up in the morning, but if you never drank coffee, you wouldn't. You wouldn't need the coffee to wake up, you'd be more awake. You don't need the coffee to wake up, you need the coffee to bring you from a super tired state to a normal state. So I'll close with that because I'm just beginning to repeat myself. Ciao.